One of those things about markets is that they move in cycles. And so I want to show you a sector here, a part of the market, this the solar energy market that may just finally be waking up in the broader sense. Looking at markets a lot of times can be confusing because we never know whether we're at a top or at a bottom, whether rallies are about to peter out or just about to get started. And if we think about it through the lens of sort of the broader context, and we notice that, or we're aware that the longer we continue within a, let's say in this case, bull market, the more sort of left behind sectors, sometimes they're lower quality, sometimes just left behind for whatever reason, start catching up. And I think that's actually what's happening here right now in solar energy. Some of the more frustrating stocks out there for multiple years now have been stocks within the solar energy space. A lot of reasons for that. To some extent, import, competition from China to the United States, so on and so forth. But First Solar, which is the largest stock in the TAN ETF, and I'll get to that TAN ETF in just a second, where you can see this, is it's just blasting higher basically. Just this past week alone, it's up 40%. And now it's getting closer to the previous all-time highs, and quite frankly, that might be challenged over the course of time. I do think the stock may be a little bit overbought right now, but in the broader sense, this may be a good trend to continue. The point here, though, is if we look at this through the lens of catching up, and that's kind of the point I wanted to make, and you see that. I just put a few sectors together. We can even add the S&P 500 here as well, so you kind of get the sense of this. You can see that energy stocks have done very well for the past number of years. The S&P has done well. Financial stocks have well. The energy stocks have well. Add those here as well, and then all the way at the bottom, and we could add a whole much more here. Right? Just the basic idea is that the the energy complex that is very specific to solar energy is now just starting to catch up. TAN is the ETF, TAN, and includes, among other things, its largest holding is First Solar, ticker symbol FSLR. So if this market is likely to continue in its direction, not tomorrow or next week or next month, just broadly speaking for another who knows how long, then these stocks really could start to catch a bid on a more sustainable basis beyond just the big move last week. So looking at TAN, the ETF itself here, which again is made up of a whole bunch more stocks than just First Solar, but First Solar being the biggest holding, it's actually starting, just to give you some perspective on this, is actually looking to break above its 200-day moving average, essentially since the first time of a little more than a year ago, when it really started to dive. And because at that point, when it started breaking below 200-day on a more sustainable basis, it basically dropped as much as 50%. So if we're starting to slowly change that trend, and again, the indications from a money flow perspective, meaning like more money is going into parts of the market that haven't yet caught up, then this would make intuitive sense. So TAN, the ETF, could easily, let's say just from a price perspective, get back into, let's call the $60 level, which from this point on is another, let's call that not quite 30%. And I think there's a lot of opportunity here. Also using something called a covered call, or a poor man's covered call on not just this TAN or these stocks within the TAN ETF, but broadly speaking, I still think there's a lot of opportunity to essentially do buy rights, meaning if we own a portfolio of stocks, sell calls against those, or just for the purpose of collecting a dividend, doing a double income system trade is what we like to call it, where we can collect the dividends, sell a call while owning the stock, and that kind of thing, or even a poor man's cover call, as I said before, which we will explain to you what that is. It's actually a very cheap way of doing it all, much cheaper than the typical cover call. If that's something that floats your boat, if you're interested in that kind of stuff, make sure you sign up for this week's discussion on covered calls, poor man cover calls, double income system cover calls. And we would love to have you there. Take 45 minutes out of your day and join us. It's down below or on the next screen where you can sign up for that, and we'd love to show you how that works. We'll see you there.